All right, welcome to the next video in the series on rebuilding Shimi, the lightweight. So we're out here in the garden, just enjoying a little bit of sunshine after a week of rain here in England. But I guess it's time to get to work. So let's go into the garage and see what's happened during the week. So as you can probably see, there's been a few changes. So the chassis, my rusty old chassis full of holes, has been sliced up into bits, and it is off to the recycling center. So it's now resting in a bin of other scrap metal, which is a sad end to a chassis that saw nearly a half a century of good service. So, but you know, all things change. So we've got the axles off, so I've got the rear axle here. Still has the old leaf springs on it. They're parabolics, 2-leaf parabolics. They'll be coming off and getting replaced. And over here we've got front axle. So it's going to get cleaned up, and we're probably going to do a bit of work to it. And then in the middle of the room we have my gearbox. This is my Suffix D LT76 ex-military gearbox. It's probably the toughest of the Series 3 gearboxes, and it's been brilliant since I bought Shimi. Never popped out of gear, never had any problems, doesn't make excessive noise. You can see here, the rear, I've added a roamer drive. So roamer drive is a Canadian-made, or used to be Canadian-made, overdrive system for Land Rovers. The company was sold to an Australian firm, but they had some old stock sitting in Canada still. So I got one of the last ones, and so that was bolted on for the last trip. And to be honest, it was brilliant. On the motorway, Shimi just cruised with the 200 TDI engine. And the overdrive engaged, I was keeping up with all the fastest trucks. And in the desert, in low range, I kind of had more variation. So sometimes between first gear low is way too low. You can't go, it's like a crawl speed. 2 can be good, but still, if we're crossing any flat ground between soft bits, it gets a little slow. 3rd sometimes is where I stayed most of the time, but in loose ground, you want to go down to 2. And so now I could actually take a gear by engaging the overdrive. It was somewhere between 2nd gear and 3rd gear. And I played around with it quite a bit, and it worked out really well. So one of the questions I'm asking myself is, do I put this back in? It's been brilliant. The problem with these is that it's almost impossible to rebuild them now. You just cannot get good spare parts, good quality parts, especially in the synchros, which you really need for one of these Series 3 boxes. Being a Suffix D, it probably still has quite a bit of value in it, and with a barely used roamer drive, it's probably even more valuable. It doesn't leak, it's great, but if I can't rebuild it, and it's very likely to fail on one of these very long expeditions, I have to kind of think about what I'm going to do with it. If I can find someone to rebuild it, and that person has a source of good quality parts, that's fine. If not, I'm going to have to consider other options. Now, the gearbox, as you see, it's still pretty dirty. One of my jobs today is to clean it up. One of the weaknesses I find of these, in desert travel anyway, is the gear selector shift. This is always going to have a little bit of oil on it, and it just collects dust. So by the end of the trip, it's just the most crunchy, not very pleasant shifting, and you can just feel the dirt and grit in there. So I've often been thinking, if I keep the thing, I'm going to see if I can fit a cover over top of all of this that I can seal up during the desert trip, so it hopefully would keep some of the dust out of the shifting mechanism. But it still works. I'm not getting any grit inside the shifter housing, so yeah, all good. But anyway, this is one of the decision points. A couple of other things I've got going on this weekend. before my new galvanized chassis and bulkhead arrives is I've got to strip the door mounts off the sides of my old bulkhead, and then this will probably get cut off and taken to the recycling center as well. But yeah, so that's my weekend ahead of me, cleaning up the gearbox, getting the leaf springs off the axles, and basically just getting the workshop ready for the arrival of my chassis and my bulkhead. And I'll tell you more about that as we get closer. I've been costing out a lot of things. Obviously, every project has a budget, and I'm trying to figure out what I can fit within my project budget. The chassis and the bulkhead, they're obvious things that I have to go with. But there's other choices, like braking choices, engine choices, gearbox choices, that I'm going to have to make. So anyway, the project is ongoing, and we'll see where we come out on the other end. Okay, thanks for watching.